would you not retire in Costa Rica? Hi, my name is Muriel and I moved to Costa Rica in 2018 with my husband and 2 kids. And how do I know about to retire in Costa Rica? Well, I've seen a lot of people retire in Costa Rica and leave the country again. So I felt inspired to share some insights on that, so you can do your own research and decide if Costa Rica is the country for you. And who am I and what am I doing in Costa Rica? Well, I just live my life here on my own mango farm, my mango finca, and I am an online coach and I teach people from all over the world how to generate income online and how online marketing works for existing businesses, brick and mortar owners, and how people can get eyes on their existing products or services and how affiliate marketing works. Basically, I teach people how to generate income from anywhere, be a nomad by design. By the way, you can also access right away to my free course by clicking that little link below my videos or in the pop-up above my head to learn more. It's 100% free, just to give you an impression about my business and how it's set up and how a lot of my students are moving abroad thanks to online earnings with my strategy taught in there. So yeah, I'm inspired to share why I believe a lot of people make a mistake to retire to Costa Rica. First of all, that is rule number 1. Don't decide to yes or no retire in Costa Rica without having spent time here in different seasons. A big mistake that most people make is that they come in the ideal situation, the ideal season, where it's not too dry, where it's not too wet. Basically, they had an amazing vacation and now they think, oh, let's retire in Costa Rica. And they forget that Costa Rica have different climates, like rainy season and dry season basically, but also spread over the whole country, there are 11 microclimates. So to retire in Costa Rica, basically, sometimes the mind is blurred, not realizing that there may be some rough months in the area that you fell in love with. So it's always good to be able to experience Costa Rica by yourself and don't take other people's words for it. Everyone is different. I know people who are retired in Costa Rica and live super off grid, literally, like they are super self-sufficient and eat food from their own garden, and they are 75 plus and they are incredibly happy and they live basically far away from the big hospitals and the medical resources, and they're fine. But is that you? Okay, let me talk about some disadvantages of to retire in Costa Rica. Is that logistics go slow here. If you are used to a specific culture, like such as in Europe or in the United States or Canada, I remember that the biggest difference with life here, according to versus in the Netherlands, is that logistics go slow. If you're an impatient person, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer. The most simplest things go complicated here, or with a lot of steps in between, like go to the hardware store to buy a screwdriver can take like 3 hours because there could be a row, someone is not there, now you have it, now you need to pay, you first need to pay, you have to put your screwdriver over there, then you have to show your receipt and show it to the other person. They're gonna check your bill, and if it's paid, I'm gonna do like a checkbox. And then you go out and then a guard wants to see your bill to see if you really paid for it. Like things like that, sometimes that's unimaginable in countries somewhere else. Can you stand it? Can you live with it? Ask yourself it. It's not up to me for you to decide if you can stand it. What's always disadvantage for people when they decide to retire, they want to do fast because they don't want to lose any time, and they forget that building a house can be a very tiring process. So hanging in the hammock all day may be a dream, but if you cannot find a ready to live in house, you're gonna buy property in Costa Rica, building and construction takes a lot of energy and a lot of time. If you want it or not, it's true. Maybe it takes you a lot of time and effort to find the right team, for example, but do you know the right people, right? Do you know people here? Like not that no one can be trusted, but I can make like 100 videos about what went wrong with people, with myself, and with people I know in the construction phase. So are you up to that? It's not a very clean process here. Why? Because the weather factors are having a huge impact on the construction and the building. So you cannot build all year round here. In the months of September, October, when there's super heavy rains in most areas, it's hard to build. That's logistically, you cannot pinpoint a specific date to retire, boom, and the house is there. So basically my question is, are you up to it? Also, you can decide to just rent, but most people who want to retire in Costa Rica don't want to rent. That's the people I know, but consider just to rent a place first, maybe easier. Also, disadvantages of you want to retire in Costa Rica is that it's an expensive country. Maybe that is the top one disadvantage of retiring in Costa Rica. The prices here compared to other countries that are high on the list of retirement, such as Thailand, Southeast Asia, is super high because of the prices are so low. Why do still a lot of people come to Costa Rica? Is because neighbor countries are not always ideal compared to Costa Rica, such as Nicaragua. It's not super stable. So I've heard stories of people who lost their house because there was a government law change, and now expat houses you're not allowed to have your own property. They change the rule. Basically, it's not stable for buying property and stuff. I would go to Nicaragua and just rent a place if I was at a retiree age, retired from my job and want to have a peaceful life. I would just find a rental. And the same for Panama. It's not that stable, but don't pin me on the fact. Maybe you know more about that. It's different than I do. Talking about expenses and how expensive it is here compared to Panama, Nicaragua, and Mexico. That's all very cheap, much cheaper countries, but people come here because of its stability. And there is something here, and maybe it catches you and maybe not. Maybe you're like, I don't feel it. What are people doing here in that incredible expensive country? Now, I do know that a lot of people who are retiring in Costa Rica are focusing on how to live on a budget. However, I always want to highlight that you can focus on creating extra income. And that is what I teach in my free course, Nomad by Design, which you can access through the link below my video. In the description, there's more information. So how about just to retire in Costa Rica and do something you love, or talk about stuff you love, monetize your passion using video, YouTube, TikTok, and generate an income. That's the most easiest way to generate an income. So you don't need to live on a budget. Even that, the fact that Costa Rica is mega expensive, but that's only for open-minded people who are up to learn this. Of course, that won't fall from the sky. You need to have skill sets, mindset to learn how to generate a solid income online, and even to build a side income online. You need to know the same things as to make a full-time income, if that makes sense. But everything about that I share in my free course, Nomad by Design. Are there other disadvantages here? Well, yeah, I think that it's over glorified, Costa Rica, especially lately. This video is made in 2025. Costa Rica is not to be compared with Costa Rica of 1999. I've heard stories of people who moved here in 1999 or even before, or even after 2018. When I moved, I have seen so many changes, and not for the good, not good changes. I've seen many people coming like me, and everyone leaves a footprint. So I'm not clean. I left a footprint, but not everyone is as ethical with saving the environment and not taking away unnecessarily trees for construction and stuff. And I have seen mountains full of trees where a lot of mammals lived, such as howler monkeys and agoutis, and all losing their homes because new landowners just decide to take away all the trees and all the vegetation. So all the animals are homeless. I have heard monkeys scream when the trees were taken down, and that made me cry at the side of the road. And that happens all the time. 2 monkeys per day In my area only, Santa Teresa, Montezuma, 2 monkeys per day get electrocuted by the electricity wires, and that go from the street to the houses. So the more people start moving here, the more animals will die. And that's a disadvantage of retirement in Costa Rica, that you are adding to that. Not to make you feel guilty, because it's not your fault. All others are retiring here as well. And maybe also you'll have some advice on this, that there's a lot of noise pollution here. Again, it's not the same as years before. With a lot of people coming, there's a lot of construction, and with construction there's a lot of workers, and the most workers transport themselves on motorbikes, and motorbikes are super noisy. And the traffic that I hear in the morning has increased because I'm surrounded 2 parts by a river and 1 part by a road. The noise coming from the road of especially motorbikes, illegal motorbikes, vehicles that produce a lot of sound, including the big trucks transporting all the construction materials. They have those big brakes, and you hear boop, 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 those turbo brakes, because it's very hilly, and that is in the morning very noisy, and in the afternoon too. So are you aware of that? It's kind of hard lately to find a quiet place if you want to live in a quiet place in Costa Rica. So looking into retirement in Costa Rica, think about these things, make up your own mind. But of course, like I said in the beginning of my video, come to Costa Rica yourself and choose the area that fits your lifestyle the best. And don't over glorify Costa Rica, that living on a budget is easy, because everything is expensive here. Having a vehicle is expensive. Having a house and property is expensive. You have to have a huge budget, or learn how to be a nomad by design and generate your income online, or monetize your passion so you can make a nice side income by talking about providing value on social media about the things that you love to teach people about or to talk about. Who knows, we're gonna meet one day in Costa Rica. I don't want to take away your dream to retire in Costa Rica. This was a video why not to retire in Costa Rica, but I still do know that a lot of people retire very happily here because they have a nice filled wallet, they have their stuff arranged well, and they are enjoying life. I have some of my friends are retirees, so yeah, keep dreaming and pushing towards that dream, because I know you can make it happen. Talk soon, and looking forward to see you in my next video. Bye for now.